Hi guys, in this video I want to take a look at creating a CV for sixth formers. Now I think this is quite important because often when we look to gain some work experience obviously have to submit a CV. But what I'm finding is when I look at the CVs that some people write, I find that the CVs aren't professional looking enough, and that's sort of what I want to address today, to make sure that our CVs look professional when we do submit these CVs. And obviously the CV template I will give you today, I will share with you in the link in the description. Feel free to use it. And because I work as an engineer currently at the time of creating this video, I think when I'm creating this video, I'm going to use engineering examples, but please don't restrict this to just engineering. This video is suitable for those who want to go into other fields besides engineering, if that makes sense. So let's get straight into it. Now, when we open up Word, obviously we're going to be creating our CV on Word. We've got the normal setting and then we've got the no space setting. I prefer to use the no space setting. That's just a personal preference. And if I right click and then click modify, I like to use the font of Arial. I like my text to be justified like this. So we've got left, center, right, and then justified. I like to use justified because it looks neater. And then the font size, I'll change that to 10. And then the color by default, we'll keep that to black. So first thing, if I go to the center, in bold, I'll write down my name, as we see here. After that, I'll put my address. So maybe something like 00 street name, town, and then postcode. So a format that looks like this to start off with is usually decent. Then we'll put our telephone number down. So that starts off with 07 and then it continues. And then we'll put down our email. My email I'll put down over here. So we've got something like that. And maybe what we could also do as well, if we think it's relevant, is we'll put down our date of birth. But don't put down DOB, I think that's a bit lazy. Write down fully date of birth with a colon, and then I don't know. We'll keep this simple for now. 1st of January, and then 2005 maybe. So that's how I start that CV, and maybe we want to make the text look a little bigger like this. So that's a nice professional looking CV to start off with. Now, what we want to do at this time is create a personal statement. Now what people tend to do, sixth formers by that, they'll put over here personal statement, and they'll write a huge bunch of nonsense such as I am a hard-working individual who is kind, loving, caring, and they put a whole bunch of nonsense here, and quite frankly it's not what employers are looking for. Also, you don't actually need to write down the words personal statement. So what we'll do instead is we'll make our text italic, and the idea with a personal statement is it's just literally a sentence to just introduce yourself super quick, and that's what I'm going to write. Now bearing in mind this is sort of tailored towards engineering, because I work as an engineer, I'm going to say that this CV is going to be dedicated to more towards civil engineering, creating buildings. So what we'll put over here is something like a self-motivated, and you can choose any words you want, and maybe a passionate individual, and then so that's a bit about yourself. Don't go overboard with what you are, like I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm hardworking. I don't care about that. So 2 quick sort of adjectives to describe you will suffice. And then what are you interested in? Well, I'm interested in engineering, so maybe I'll put over here, looking to pursue a career in engineering. And then what's my goal with this? Well, with a goal to address sustainability issues in our planet. Something like that. Now let's just talk about this. Now you don't really have to use the words self-motivated and passionate individual. You can find something else. Again, you might not be studying engineering, you might want to go into accountancy or something else. And then what's your goal? Well, you might want to become an engineer for a different reason, but I think something like this is decent enough as a personal statement. It's straight to the point, which is what I'm really looking for. Okay, so that's your personal statement. Don't need to really write anything beyond that. Now let's talk a bit about our education. So if I justify left, get rid of the italics, let's make this bold and underline for our headings. Let's put here education. Now obviously you're all going to be in sixth form college, so let's make this in bold. So let's insert the name of our sixth form college. Let's just put here sixth form college. Now if you are in an 11 to 18, nothing wrong with just putting the school name and separating it like that. But currently, if you're in a sixth form college, let's stick with that. You're in sixth form college. When did you start? Probably 2017, and you're still there. And let's put this in italics. What are you studying? So you've got A levels studying. What are you studying currently? Well, you'll be studying maths, further maths, chemistry and physics maybe. But instead of us writing maths, I always think it's better to write down mathematics. Then we've got further mathematics, maybe chemistry and physics. Now notice how I separate these subjects with a semicolon. Don't put a colon, don't put a comma, put a semicolon instead. And you don't need to write down A level maths as well, because A levels is already in the subheading here, so we can just get rid of this. Don't put it down your predicted grades. I'm not bothered about your predicted grades currently. So you've got A levels studying, and maybe you might want to put something about your secondary school. So let's put over here secondary school. Well, technically this will be something like 22. Your secondary school rather would be something like September 2017 to June or July 2022. So there's your 5 years. And then you might tell me something about the GCSEs you've achieved. So here, let's put this down. GCSE grades achieved. So for your GCSE grades, I'm not bothered about all your subjects. If you've got 10 GCSEs, just put here 10 GCSEs, and then you probably got grade 7 to 9, so here put down grade 7 to 9, or if you got just grade 9s, just put here grade 9s. But let's keep it simple for now, grade 7 to grade 9. But what I'm bothered about is your grade in math and English language. So what you'd put over here is including mathematics, not maths, remember it's mathematics, and then you put your grade. So maybe you've got a grade 9 in maths. And then we'll put here English language, and that will probably be a grade 9 as well. And what we'll do here is we'll make this justified, like so. So, what you might want to put after this is stuff about your work experience currently. So when we talk about current work experience, let's put it down here. Work experience. And then here, put the place where you worked. So here you might work at a charity shop. And put the dates. Don't put like dates like this. I'm not bothered about that. Just put down the month. So it might be, I don't know, July 2021, for example. And if you finished for about 3 weeks, then nothing wrong with putting this. If it was 3 weeks, but it might have been a bit longer, so let's just put here August 2021. Might worked in a charity shop. So then what you'd put over here then is your roles and responsibilities. So when we talk about roles and responsibilities, stuff like this can go in bullet points. The stuff that we want to write is the things that we did. So in a charity shop, we could, I don't know, provide customer service. And then when we separate our roles and responsibilities, we use a colon. Other stuff that we could do in a charity shop, stuff like team working skills, and then demonstrated when organizing stock. So it's stuff like that you want to mention. Then you might have some other work experience. For example, you might work in a bakery, and you might have worked in a bakery, say in April for about a week. So you could put here April 2020, and then even if it's a week, doesn't matter. It finishes in April 2020. And then again, in italics, roles and responsibilities. Then let's get rid of this colon. So some of the skills that we require in working in a bakery, for example, would be time management skills. And that might have been demonstrated in some sort of way. So let's put here insert example. We might have had some budgeting responsibilities when for ingredients. So whatever work experience you did, I think that might be worth putting in here. And then you might not have work experience, so let's put here volunteering. Some of you might have done some volunteering. So you might have done some mentoring scheme for primary schools, and you might have here your date given again. It's November 2019 to December 2019, and again roles and responsibilities would include stuff like mentoring or teaching primary school pupils how to read. So that's the sort of stuff that you'd put over here. Then you might have extra curricular activities. So with extracurricular activities, you might just give some examples, such as the Duke of Edinburgh so you might have had the Duke of Edinburgh scheme. You might have done some sort of STEM ambassador role. So that's the stuff that you'd put over there. I think as well, maybe under education, it might be worth to put something about additional qualifications. So when we talk about additional qualifications, we might talk about UK MT Math Challenge. We might have some sort of thing in coding, maybe. You might have some maths and physics prizes. So that's the sort of stuff that we'd put in the additional qualifications. What I think is always worth mentioning is something about technical skills. So that might include something about coding. And then maybe list some of the languages over here. So we could have Python, remember separate with a colon, HTML, could have some Java in there. So that's the sort of stuff that we'd have in under coding. We could have some Microsoft Office stuff that's also mentioned. And then other stuff we could mention is stuff about interests. So a simple sentence such as, in my spare time, I enjoy playing, say, tennis. And you could create some sort of a sentence around that. And then what I would do is talk a bit about references. And in terms of references, I would mention something simple like available upon request, or write down details of your current school / employer. You don't need to give every single one. So that's how I would set out a CV. Now let's see if there's anything else we could change in this. Again, these are some examples, so maybe separate with colons where we've got a list. So I think that'll be a good way to set out a CV. Remember, a CV needs to look as professional as possible, so maybe if we reduce the size of the text, maybe we could, if I go to layout, we could have the margins narrower, like so, and maybe if we now increase the text size, what I really want is for the text to be on one page, like so. So that's the way I'd go about creating a CV. Maybe we could make this italic where we've got subheadings, like so. It just depends on how you see fit, how you set out your CV. But I think this video does serve the purpose of teaching you how to create a CV. And notice how the dates go in chronological order, most recent first, followed by the next recent. So that's the way I would go about this. So this is how I'd create a CV if I was in 6th form. So if you are looking to create a CV, this is a sort of layout that you could use. If you want, you could also send me your CVs as examples. If you are sending it me, please don't include your personal details. You could just exclude all this. If you are going to send me a CV, obviously I don't want you to give me personal data. But if you want me to have a quick look at how you set out, then please do email me. I'd be happy to take a look. Same with UCAS applications, stuff like that. It's not a problem at all. But yeah, I do hope this video helped. If there are any questions, please do let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I do work as an engineer. But yeah, that's the way I would set out a CV. I think as well, it might be worth mentioning that creating a LinkedIn profile to add to your professionalism might be worth it. So just create a LinkedIn profile, and I think creating a LinkedIn profile is quite important in terms of making yourself appear more professional and network with people on LinkedIn as well.